What's going on, sports card hobby family? We are back again. It is another day. It is another sports card video. Today we're going to talk about Grail cards, actual Grail cards, the big ones, the big time holy Grail cards that we're searching for. I got a cool story, so we're going to dive right into that. But first, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, COMC.com. Your home for buying, selling, and flipping all the hottest trading cards. Their consignment marketplace now home to over 32 million cards from baseball's biggest stars like Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, and Mookie Betts to Marvel favorites like Spider-Man, Thor, and Captain America. COMC has something for every type of collector, so make sure to visit COMC.com at the links below in the video description, as well as in the pinned comments to start your COMC journey. They've added grading, they've added pre-grading, they've got auction stuff, they've added breaking to the site. All the things are happening at COMC, so check them out. All right, one of my hobby buddies, Rob, sports card therapist, had an excellent episode here recently. He had Adam at the Real 27 guy on Instagram, and Adam has a massive collection. He also runs Basketball Card Fanatic magazine, and he's been a collector slash speculator slash card investor for decades, and he really kind of He zeroes in on basketball cards, hence the Basketball Card magazine. But this episode is great because there's been a lot of consolidation, I think, in 2023 with people kind of either moving up through their collection or moving down. But either way, it's people that are looking in 2023 at what they've got and thinking like, okay, I've got some pretty cool cards, but do I really love these? And this is me included. I'm in this bucket. What do I really want? And kind of moving out of stuff that's just a like thing and into more of the stuff that we love. And we've been seeing that over and over again. I think it not even in 2023. I think this started going back a year, maybe longer, where people were just kind of like, you know what? I don't really want to speculate on that prospect. I really want to focus in on certain players that I really love, other types of collectibles, whatever it is, first appearances, this, that, and the other thing. And so they've really consolidated. And so, but the reason why this story is so great on this episode is he had to really do it. Adam had to do, I think, the toughest part of consolidation is leveling up, but then he had to level up basically to like the monster card at the top of the pyramid. And for me, I've never been here. You know, I'm still probably leveling up to those, you know, those middle tier things that I really like. He's been doing it long enough to where he's got a lot of, you know, 5-figure cards,
entrepreneur,
that he's using to move up into 6-figure cards. He probably has a 7-figure collection. And so the card that we're talking about that he moved up into is a 2002 Upper Deck Kobe Logo Man 1 of 1, and it's the Logo Mania set. 9 cards in the set. Came out about 18 months before Exquisite did. It was the first and the last time that Upper Deck basically came out with a Logo Man card. And so with Adam being a huge Kobe collector, this was kind of one of those top 3, top 5 all-time Kobe cards to get. You know, this is kind of that one of those Mount Rushmore cards up here at the top. The sort of card you just don't see. They don't sell very often. And so what he had to do was he had to take a lot of, not lower end, but really kind of higher end cards, take a bunch of higher end cards to get into like a very high end card. And so just the decision making that goes into that, I think, would be extremely difficult. As he says in the talk with Rob, these are cards that he never thought that he would move off from. So it's not as if you're moving off from stuff. It's like, oh, it's a $50 card or a $100 card, and you can live without it. These are cards that he might not ever be able to get back. He might not, you know, or maybe he can get some of them back. But, you know, these are collector style cards. These are people that buy these that are going to pay a lot of money. Probably not to flip them in 2 weeks because there's specific things. There's a Kevin Garnett PMG. There was LeBron James Exquisite Autos. There was other Kobe cards. Dirk 24 karat gold cards. So these are big, like long time PC cards, you know, that he had to make a really tough decision to move into kind of that one huge card. Again, another reason why this is difficult is because I think as collectors, we are a little bit hoarder. There's a little bit of hoarder wrapped into collecting to where there's some volume attached to it. You know, I've got, you know, volume for Drew Brees cards. I've got volume for Tom Brady cards. Could I technically take all my Tom Brady cards and move them up into one big Tom Brady card? I definitely could. And who knows, maybe one day that will happen. But that would be hard to do because I enjoy the individual cards. There's a reason why I got them in the first place. And it would be really tough to make that call because the part of being a collector is collecting in volume. Now, I know that's going to be relative. There's going to be some collectors that, they've got 30 cards of their player and they've kind of like picked their top 30 cards and they've kind of like, traded up and got kind of moved up to where they got into like 20, 30 great cards for their particular player that they're collecting. But there's also people that have, thousands of cards that might be lower end, for their player. I ran into a guy that commented on a video here recently that said that he collects Raiders cards.
The Raiders, I'm Bo Jackson, and hopefully he'll show up. Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast.
Not a specific Raiders player, but just Raiders cards, period. So think of all the options there. I mean, there's just kind of endless Raiders cards. There's millions. There might actually be billions of Raiders cards in existence. But I thought that was kind of interesting because you hear about player collectors, set collectors. This was team collector. So he wants just Raiders cards. And I thought that was really cool. So again, kind of going back, the fundamental thinking behind, collecting, it's tough because there is some volume behind that, and that's going to be relative depending on the person. So this had to have been extremely hard for Adam. And he did say he has no regrets whatsoever, but he is sad about those cards that had to go to make that happen, to make that deal happen. And that's, I think, kind of the tough choice that we all face. When you're looking to get into some of these cards, especially ones where you're like, I'm never going to be able to touch this particular card. It's one of these Mount Rushmore cards that just never pops up for sale. And if that opportunity presents itself, here's the other part is you don't have all day. You don't have like a month to make that decision or a year. You've got to make a quick decision. Okay, how am I going to get into this card? How am I going to sell to get into this? How am I going to trade? There's all sorts of different thoughts that have to go in, and it's all time sensitive. So I think this was a great episode because this was, when we talk about Grail cards, that phrase gets thrown around all the time. Grail card this and Grail card that. Well, this was a big time Grail for Adam. A 6-figure card for Kobe. It's one of these top 3, top 5 cards for Kobe Bryant. And I think all of us at some point, depending on which player you're collecting. Now, Kobe obviously expensive based on his hobby stature, but if you're collecting, whoever, Bobby Hebert, that top tier card might not be, that might just be a PSA 10 of his rookie card. Bobby Hebert is a poor example, but one of these guys that does have kind of a lot of different options, whether it be autograph cards or parallels, inserts, over time, there's going to be a hierarchy of what the best cards are. So that's kind of a fun chase and a fun goals to look to attain. So guys, definitely check this out. If you didn't watch it, Sports Card Therapist interview with Adam, How to Obtain a Grail 101 or something like that is the title. I'll put a link in the video description to check it out. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.